Trying to close the deal, the Obama administration entering what it hopes is the final phase as the president continues this week in campaign mode to push forward his overhaul of the health care system. It remains unclear, though, what exactly the legislation will entail, with ongoing debate from the halls of Congress to America's town halls. NBC's Mike Vaquera is covering it all for us and joins us from the White House. Good evening to you, Mike.
Good evening, Natalie. With passions running high on both sides of the health care reform debate, at least one White House aide is dismissing some of the anger that we've seen at these protests, like the one we saw yesterday in Washington, as misguided. Meanwhile, Senate Democrats say that they are going to push forward with a bill with or without Republicans. At a town hall today in South Carolina, more resistance to President Obama and his plan to reform health care.
There is nobody in this country could withstand competing with the federal government when they get in your backyard. Let me tell you.
It comes on the heels of a summer of discontent. And the day after, tens of thousands marched on the Capitol, galvanized in opposition to the president's policies. Today, White House officials were unfazed by the protests.
I don't think we ought to be distracted by that. My message to them is they're wrong.
Democrats have a newfound confidence after the president's speech to Congress last week. And now, after a series of false starts, plan to unveil a bill this week in the Senate.
We invite the Republicans to join us for this historic opportunity. If they do not, we are still going to go forward.
The president also sees momentum on his side, with another big rally set for Thursday. But the other side is emboldened too, and senses a chance to do political damage to Mr. Obama. And the man whose outburst last week has become a rallying cry for some.
Our president is a liar. God bless Joe Wilson.
Faces a new challenge from Democrats, who, after first brushing off calls for a reprimand of the congressman,
let's not spend time on that,
are now demanding a formal apology from Wilson on the floor of the House. Today, Wilson says he won't do it.
I have apologized to the president. I believe that is sufficient.
But as the controversy continues, both sides are seeing a benefit. Since Wednesday night's speech, Wilson and his likely opponent, Democrat Rob Miller, have both topped the $1 million mark in campaign contributions. And though emotions are running high on both sides, analysts say those moderate Democrats in the middle, the same ones that the president needs to win this fight, could be swayed by the kind of conservative anger on display yesterday.
There's no question who's winning on passion right now. It's the political right. That's where the energy is. That's where the anger is. That's where the passion is. And often passion translates into votes.
And, Natalie, the issue that has most divided Democrats in the president's own party is the so-called public option. And today, White House aides and the president himself in an interview said while they favor a public option, it should not be the make-or-break issue that determines the fate of reform. Natalie?
And, Mike, tomorrow the president will deliver a speech on Wall Street on the one-year anniversary of the collapse of Lehman Brothers. Can you give us a preview of his message?
Well, the president is going to walk a very fine line. First of all, he wants to tout all the reforms that have been put in place that he says will have brought the country back from the brink of a depression to now on the path to recovery. On the other hand, he does not want to appear too overconfident. There are those who say that the stimulus package should not be fully spent. There's only about $300 billion of the $787 billion that's so far been obligated. He also wants to keep the pressure on Congress for his financial reform package that is now stalled in committee. Natalie?
Mike Vaquera at the White House. Thank you, Mike. Sir.